Modern architecture, the secret behind function over form. Modern architecture marked a milestone in the history of architectural design, not only for its ability to break away from previous styles and transform the paradigms of its time, but also for its efficient use of resources, encompassing materials, social factors, and even urban elements. Its greatness lies in a series of historical and revolutionary events that unfolded over more than a century. This journey is what gives it its current impact and relevance. To create a new architecture of value, it is essential to look back and study what came before, and in this case, it is modern architecture. What is modern architecture? Modern architecture is a movement born in 20th century Europe whose essence opposes the historical design trends. Modernism eliminated all ornamentation, flourishes and structures that adorned architecture since the classical era, through the Gothic, Baroque, and almost every trend preceding this movement. On the contrary, modern architecture embraced a new aesthetic governed by two principles: functionality and simplicity. Mies van der Rohe's mantra, "Less is more," or Louis Sullivan's "Form follows function," perfectly exemplify the new mindset architects applied to their designs. Global industrialization, and therefore the mass production of new materials, were key allies for modernism as steel, glass, and concrete led the plasticity of new buildings. Their versatility, as well as their structural capacity, helped lighten architecture from the typical heaviness of stone materials, marble, and heavy metals. The main features of modern architecture include pure, clean lines where design responds to functionality rather than extravagance. Geometry was simplified, mostly to variations of rectangular or orthogonal prisms, while the structures were no longer hidden but left exposed and integrated into the design. Moreover, glass became the hallmark of modern architecture, thanks to its ability to span larger and longer windows. Interiors, in turn, transformed into open spaces, unlike previous typologies where every space was strictly limited by walls. In modern architecture, spaces are flexible and interconnected. Where did modern architecture come from? Modern architecture as a movement was coined in 1920, thanks to the Bauhaus, the building of the German School of Architecture, Design and Art, founded by architect Walter Gropius, and inaugurated in 1919. The House of Building, as it translates from German, is considered a purely modernist work, with its clean volumes and use of glass, where the design corresponded solely to the interior function of the building. However, modern architecture was a movement that, unknowingly, had been in the making for years and has its origins in the Industrial Revolution. This historical event spurred the experimentation with new materials, which would later be appropriated by the modernist movement. The Crystal Palace, built in 1851, is considered the building that laid the foundations of modernism. Although its volumetry did not fit the typical orthogonal shapes, it was revolutionary in its exclusive use of glass and steel, giving a 180-degree turn to common materials. There was also a growing concern among architects and urban planners to revitalize architecture, with a clear inclination to minimize the importance of aesthetics. On the other hand, the famous arts and crafts movement, promoted by William Morris, was a driving force behind modernist ideals, advocating for the morality of architecture and manual labor. Lastly, art and its movements from 1910 onward significantly influenced modern architectural aesthetics, with undeniable similarities to movements like Cubism and Abstractionism. If you like our content, don't forget to follow us, like the video, and share it.